Welcome back to the Berg podcast. Thanks for joining us today. This is Bryan, and with me today, I've got Blair.
Hello.
And for those of you who haven't had the chance to meet Blair yet, Blair was recently hired here at Berg Construction to be our safety coordinator. So we talk a lot about safety on the podcast. It's definitely important to us. And we've been, over the last probably 18 months, trying to make a real strong focus to improve our safety habits and be a little more formal with some of our safety program. And Blair's addition to our team has been a part of that. So, Blair, let's just start simple. How long have you been with Berg now?
Since October, so about 6 months.
Yeah, about 6 months. Jeez, time flies.
I know.
Yeah. And Blair was in some safety-related roles prior to coming here. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I worked as an assistant for a legal department. So under their purview was risk management, loss prevention, workers' comp. So I have a lot of safety-related experience and a lot of, formalization of things, creating manuals, that sort of thing. And I did workers' comp for them for about 8-9 years. So that's really where a lot of my safety experience comes from.
Yeah, for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong. You did a little bit with their fleet program too,
Yeah, I did.
right?
I managed about 80 vehicles, I think. Mm-hmm. But it was all very not trailers or anything, but what the supervision were driving.
Yeah, so we've talked about it in the past. We actually, our folks are pretty safe. I think we do a really good job actually in the field with safety. And one of the things that we've struggled with at times is proving it. So in the past where, we've sought out new insurance or we've looked to capitalize on some programs, we weren't able to necessarily say, here's how we know we're being safe. And so the question we get sometimes is, are you safe or are you lucky? And part of the reason Blair came, or we looked to bring Blair on board, was some of that formalization piece, some of the documentation, process, and procedure. So why don't we just, dig into a little bit about what you've been doing since you got here, your transition to construction, right? And then maybe some things that we're working on currently here.
So I guess the first big thing I had to do was go through the OSHA 10 training my first week. So that was a lot to learn and take in quickly. And then I just started digging in and getting into getting programs written and policies created. And we did the gap analysis for the insurance and taking care of the documentation for that. And just building off of things that the gap analysis pointed out and things that we needed to take care of.
Yeah, a couple big things actually right from the start, right? So the gap analysis obviously being one of those. If we haven't talked about it before, the gap analysis is sort of our annual safety assessment, sort of our scorecard in regard to safety with our insurance company. And it's a lot of documentation, a lot of understanding, and a lot of presentation of those things to some of our risk management folks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So beyond that, though, we had the safety day, which you planned and executed successfully. Thank you for that.
On a snow day.
Yeah, on a snow day. Yeah, exactly. In addition to that, you've actually taken a couple of additional trainings, right?
Right.
You've done the competent competent site inspection. Yeah, yes. Thanks. Filling in the blanks.
Yep.
And did you do? I can't recall you didn't do shoring and trenching.
No, it's on my schedule for May.
That's right. Okay.
And then confined space I'll take in June.
Yeah, awesome. So, in an effort to familiarize yourself more with exactly what we do to add to your strengths in regards to that policy and formality piece. So.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the other big things we've worked on recently, and it's been actually driven a little bit by our gap analysis process, is our safety goals, right? Talk a little bit about that.
So for 2022, we put together 4 safety goals. The first one being that we want to have more trainings for the excavation and trenching and confined space because those are the most important I think, for our industry and our company and what we do. We have a lot of hands-on experience and we have a lot of very experienced employees. But as you know, things change constantly. And so we need to keep everyone updated and make sure that everyone is comfortable doing the things that they need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of those areas where not a lot changes, but there's so much of it that refresher is necessary on a regular basis. And on top of that, you only know what you know, right? And one of the things that we found is that our folks at times, to a fault, will do whatever they're asked to do, right? Whether they're 100% prepared from a safety perspective or knowledge. And so making sure that our folks are prepared with the right information is key, not only to the work being performed properly, but to making sure that their personal safety and those around them are protected.
Exactly. And so the number 2 is that we created the weekly site safety audits for the foremen and site supervisors to complete every Tuesday. And so our hope is to have 80% completion of those. It's only 10 questions. It takes a couple of minutes. It's just to kind of keep site safety issues in the front of their minds. And we want to encourage them to include other crew members so that they're learning and understanding what things they have to keep their eye on. Kind of treat it like a teaching moment per se. And if there's things that aren't in compliance, I will follow up on them. I read them. I email Jim if there's a piece of equipment that has a fault.
Right. Yeah.
And, I log them because it's a trend that we have to keep an eye on for our gap analysis.
Right.
So,
making sure we're not doing the same things over and over again. We're learning from them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is one of those areas where I think that formality piece comes in, right? Our foremen were doing these things. They were doing a nice job of understanding what's happening on their site. We just weren't asking them previously to document it all the time, right? And so we wanted to know when something was going wrong, but we didn't necessarily know that everything was going right. So this is one of those formality things that we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and it's been working.
yeah, and they're picking it up, and they're doing a nice job of being consistent about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's next?
The Safety Scoop, which is a new project, new initiative that we're rolling out. I know it was discussed at the foreman meeting last week, but it's something I'm really excited about.
Tell me about it. I mean, when Safety Scoop.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of vague.
What is the Safety Scoop?
So it's kind of, there's physical cards and then there's a hyperlink on the dashboard of the portal, right in the quick links. And it's a way for site employees to communicate with us, whether there's they see something happening or they see someone doing something above and beyond their safety expectation. If they see someone doing something, clearing up walkways or doing something that is above and beyond what they're being asked.
Yeah, and it's a nice way for two things. It doesn't always have to be like a negative thing, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh, we saw someone or a process that wasn't happening appropriately, right? It's also like an acknowledgement, a recognition of people like doing the right thing, or like you said, maybe going above and beyond,
right?
Or I think one of the other things we talked about, like there's a sort of a suggestion component to it, right?
Yeah. So then there's on the flip side. So on the physical card, one side's for the positive and one side's for issues that they see or a near miss that they might see that happens, and then they can report that. So the goal for the year is to have everyone complete one suggestion per 6 months, and it has to be a quote unquote quality suggestion.
Okay.
We want to make sure that there's content that is measurable and makes sense and isn't just kind of a fluff suggestion per se.
Now, when they make these suggestions for correction or acknowledgments, are they required to document their name or?
So the two that are required, yes, they do have to have the name because we do have to have that.
Track it.
So,
okay.
Right. because we're going to track it and we're going to have it as part of the annual review. It's going to be on everyone's review. Now, beyond those two, if you see something and if you don't want to necessarily attach your name to it, it can be completely anonymous too. So yeah.
How do they hand these in then? So maybe, a guy doesn't want to make a big deal out of something, but wants to make sure or someone knows that something's going on. How do they turn those in?
They can do it on the portal. They can do it electronically, and the name is not required on that. They can also come in, and the cards are in the lounge in the paving office, and they can complete one of those, and there's a lockbox, and they can put it in there, or they can just put it directly in my mailbox too as an option.
Yeah, makes sense. Good. What else? You said there was 4?
Yes. So the 4th one is professional improvement, and the hope is that an employee could conduct 8 hours of training on their own time. Now, the training has to be approved ahead of time. They can email me a link of whatever training they want to complete. And then once they complete that training, they provide me with the certificate of completion, and then they'll get reimbursement for the training. And once that training, the 8 hours is completed, they can have a $500 safety bonus.
Okay.
With their annual review.
So just for doing some training, some of them they may need to do annually anyways, right? But also for just sort of taking their time to pursue or better themselves in areas that are related to our field, they get a little bump, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. What's the driver behind that? What are we trying to accomplish?
We're trying to push employees to go that little extra step to show us that they really want to be safe and to learn new things about the things that they're doing on a daily basis, and that they know that they're able to take care of themselves and the other guys that they work with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one of the hard things for us is, training's important. Safety updates, certifications are important. But one of the things that we are stuck with is there are only a number of hours in a day, in a week, in a month, et cetera.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this is asking a guy to show a little initiative and do it on his own time, but being reimbursed, of course, the cost of doing that, and hopefully incentivize and reward him for taking the initiative.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So a couple new goals, and we don't always, in the past, we haven't always formalized these goals in this way or talked about them. So will the goals be listed anywhere? Can a guy refer back to them?
Yep. The goals will be listed on the portal. There's going to be an article posted. It'll also be in the resource section of the portal that they can read. And there'll also be a list suggestion for those professional improvement courses through 360 training. And then the National Safety Council, I pulled a list of courses that field crews can take. And then I also listed some for the office and then some for both, because there's some management things or harassment training and kind of management style things that both office and field might be interested in taking.
Great. So not just field personnel, but really everyone.
Everyone. Absolutely.
Excellent. Let's switch gears just for a second here and talk a little bit about, now you just got back, literally just got back.
Last night.
From some education and training yourself, right?
Right.
So semi-annually, our risk management group hosts and this time it was like a larger group, but hosts a series of educational and training information sessions. So you just got back from spending some time there. Where were you?
Rosemont, Illinois.
Yeah,
which is right outside
right.
of Chicago,
Okay.
right next to the O'Hare Airport.
Okay. And you were there for a couple of days, right? And so tell us a little bit about what that was like.
It was a lot. It was a lot of people, a lot of information. It was really nice. And I got to meet some local employees, safety employees, and project managers from other companies in Pennsylvania who are in our captive. So that was nice to make some connections there too.
Yeah, for sure. Making those connections, I've found through that type of like peer group type of environment, it really leads to like just having somebody to be able to bounce questions off of. Maybe you copy some things that they're already doing successfully,
Yep.
provide some feedback or some suggestions at times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's nice to have the local connection. Even when you get sort of the broader national backing and resource from the education perspective.
Absolutely.
So, what were some topics that you covered? What was the format like? Were you just sitting in the same classroom with all these people all day long?
No. So some of the sections were all of the captives. I think there were like 6 or 7 captives there. And they varied from security to trucking to construction. But yeah, so there were a couple of like big ballroom group sessions. And then there were, I think, 3 or 4 breakout sessions. So you had about 5 or 6 options and you picked one to go to.
So you get to sort of choose your own path?
Exactly.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And the nice thing is that then if you went back and you wished you could have taken something else, they provided all those slideshows for you. So I can now go back and look through all the things that I didn't get to necessarily see.
Okay. That's great. Yeah. Some of them running concurrently, couldn't obviously attend to everything.
Right.
So yeah, nice. So you get to go back and use those as resources, even though you didn't get to attend those classes.
Exactly.
That's great.
Yeah.
Any interesting topics or things that jumped out at you?
They had one on incident investigations, which I didn't often have to do in my last position, but I'm having to do a lot more often here. So they had a lot of good advice on interviews and formatting of documents and that type of thing. So I found that really helpful.
Good.
What else? They had a really good speaker come in and talk about safety branding.
Oh.
So
what's that look like?
So at his company, he had his safety department had their own logo. And
interesting. Yeah.
So, and it was on everyone's jackets and it was on shirts and it was on safety stuff that they would hand out as prizes or plaques. So it was a constant reminder that safety was something that they needed to keep in mind and that they needed to think about. And I thought that was really
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, that's different. I haven't heard of that one yet, where they actually are attaching their own internal brand or marketing, so to speak, for their safety component.
Yeah. And it was a transportation company. So I think the slogan was D2P, so it was Drive to Perfect.
Okay.
I don't know if perfect was necessarily the right message, but it's close to perfect.
Sounds,
as you can get.
aspirational, but yeah. Good. Excellent. Well, that probably wraps up our time for today, but I appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for listening in, folks. We look forward to having you on another session.